came across a sentence by the Russian film director Tarkovsky. He referred, of course, to the lack of rituals and how to actually introduce or reintroduce rituals. And that has always been a very important aspect of my work, of my life, is that I have rituals which I follow every day, and I keep adding, new rituals. When you gave me a series of words, we removed one word which I shall not mention now, which is basically the rule of the game of this conversation we're having today, is that I'm not mentioning this word. Rumor has it that Da Vinci had a ritual to sleep 15 minutes every 3 hours, so it would be 7-8 times a day. I followed this for a year, and it needed a very big alarm clock because the issue was that very often after 3 hours one would sleep for 50 minutes and then not wake up again, and then of course the whole thing is ruined. So I needed a big alarm clock, which usually is used to wake up dormitories. That's it. In 2006 I moved from Paris to London, and I work here at the Serpentine Galleries, and that's in Kensington Gardens, and that's an amazing place to go running in the morning. And it has a lot to do also with this idea of meeting the trees and looking, encountering the trees every day, because I think that the poet Etel Adnan is right, that a day without seeing a tree is a wasted day. We need trees. Coffee, coffee, coffee. We have a coffee here. Do you want the coffee, by the way? I'm not to ask you. At the beginning of the 90s, when I started to work and in the art world and write my first books, and I was very much on the Balzac rhythm, and I drank up to 50 coffees a day. And now, of course, I only drink 3 coffees, so it's much less coffees, but coffee is always there. The coffee ritual. I would never start the day without the coffee. And I like Douglas Gordon's artwork. He says coffee, 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 and that's exactly the number of coffees I drink every day, 3. As we would say in French, jamais 2 sans 3. Never 2 without 3. Or in English, 2 is a company, 3 is a crowd. Coffee. Books. Anthony Powell wrote a wonderful book called Books to Furnish a Room. I grew up near a monastery library in the eastern part of Switzerland. It's the famous monastery of St. Gallen, where they have a codex, from the Middle Ages, amazing monastery plans, and the monastery burned. It was then rebuilt during the time of the Rococo. So the current library hosting these medieval, books is a Rococo library, a very beautiful Rococo library, and that's really my first childhood memory almost, that my parents took me there as a small child. It's definitely also my first museum experience. There were these felt shoes in a very silent way when we walk through the corridors of this library, and at the same time it made a huge impression on me as a child with these gloves to be able to actually look at this medieval book. It was like time traveling for me as a child in the imagination, this idea. So books had always to do with that, and then I basically always buy a book every day. That's a ritual. I cannot live without buying a book every day and reading a book every day. And at the same time, of course, this idea of being with books, living with books, also at some point started to trigger, I would say, my own books. And so I edit a lot of books, I write a lot of books, and books are always there with me. I always travel with books. Books do furnish a room. So I wanted to talk about meals. I have nothing in my fridge. We basically never eat at home. It's very much a ritual for my partner Kushonga, the artist, and myself, to every morning, wherever we are in the world, go for breakfast to a coffee shop and read the newspaper and have breakfast there and have a conversation. We start the day with a conversation with each other, and we never have breakfast at home. So in a way, the fridge is empty. I never really knew what to do with social media, and I joined it rather late, about 5-6 years ago. Calligraphy disappears, handwriting disappears, and that means a big loss for civilization. We need to do something to bring it back. So I had that in my mind. I saw Etel Adnan in this coffee shop in Brittany write this poem on a piece of paper, and that's when I had the kind of, the revelation. I thought wow, this is what I'm going to do with my Instagram. I make it, kind of like an exhibition. I wanted to be an online exhibition, like a group show. It leads us back to Oulipo. I somehow found the rule of the game of my Instagram that I would ask, because every day I meet different artists to write either a poem or a sentence or a slogan or a motto or a doodle on a piece of paper and then post it on my Instagram. It's added another, layer, I would say, to my research. It of course doesn't replace the idea of visiting exhibitions at all. On the contrary, I see lots of things on Instagram and then I feel prompted to go and check it out. So it's actually, I visit more exhibitions in real since there is Instagram. It will never replace the embodied experience of actually seeing an exhibition, but it adds another layer of research, which I welcome. Books will furnish a room, books learn Instagram, bedtime is coffee. The art is running, sleep creates meals, post-its, learn books, books create. Here we go.